Hi everybody, it's Megan Witherell, the Attleboro Public Library's teen librarian. I'm making this video today because we've received a lot of requests for books about race, about talking about race, about stories of persons of color, written by persons of color. So I checked our shelves. Many of you know that we are currently not open to the public, but we are doing curbside pickup. And the titles that I'm going to go over right now are ones that we do have available as of this moment. Once someone snatches them up, they'll no longer be available, but as of this moment, they are available. So here we go. I'm going to go through some young adult choices first. The first is The Hate You Give. This is a very popular book. It was also a movie. It is about a young teenager who is in the car with a friend of hers. They're both African American, and her friend is killed by the police. He's an unarmed young black person. And then all of the protests and things that happen after that. So many of you probably know this book, but I wanted to let you know that it is in the library right now. We do have this copy, and again, it's called The Hate You Give, and it's by Angie Thomas. The next book is also a YA book. It's called Accused, The Trials of the Scottsboro Boys, Lies, Prejudice, and the 14th Amendment. So this is a nonfiction book about 9 black teenagers during the Depression who were accused of raping a white woman on a train, and sort of what happened to them in the Jim Crow South. So again, historical perspective about what has happened in the past. So that's Accused, and it's by Larry Dane Brimner. Okay. This next book is called The Pretty One by Kia Brown. So on the back it says, a thoughtful and inspiring and fascinating collection of essays exploring what it means to be black and disabled in a mostly able-bodied white America. So another story written by a black author. So this book, Watch Us Rise by Renee Watson and Ellen Hagen, is about young women who are trying to get their voices heard and trying to overcome sort of the status quo at their high school. And so this was written in partnership. So Renee Watson is an author of color, and she is also a Coretta Scott King Award winner. So that's Watch Us Rise. Light It Up by Kikla Magoon is our next book that we're featuring. And so the back of this one says, at the end of the day, a girl is dead. Maybe it's winter, maybe she had a black ski hat on, maybe she was running and didn't stop when ordered to, maybe because she had headphones in, she didn't hear him shouting, maybe she was late for something, or maybe she was running simply because it was cold and dark and she was nervous to be alone on the street. It was dusky already at 4:30 p.m. when the lights flashed behind her. Maybe it didn't seem unusual. So that is, again, Light It Up by Kikla Magoon. So this next book is called How I Resist, Activism and Hope for a New Generation. So pretty self-explanatory. Lots and lots of authors featured here of varying backgrounds and experiences. This is a young adult nonfiction book, and we do have it available right now. Okay. Next is another young adult nonfiction book, and it's called A Few Red Drops, and it chronicles the Chicago race riot of 1919. So again, historical perspective on similar things that are happening now. Next, I'm going to go on to some middle school age suggestions. And so the first is Words with Wings by Nikki Grimes, an author of color. So this book is written in verse. So if you're interested in poetry, but you like more of a story that flows, this is a great book for you about a young girl who likes to write and who has some trouble paying attention in school. So that's Words with Wings by Nikki Grimes. The next option is Genesis Begins Again, and this one is an award winner by Alicia D. Williams. And it says there are 96 reasons why 13-year-old Genesis dislikes herself. She knows the exact number because she keeps a list. because her family is always being put out of their house, because her dad has a gambling problem and maybe a drinking problem too, because Genesis knows that this is all her fault, because she wasn't born looking like Mama, because she is too black. Genesis is determined to fix her family, and she is willing to try anything to do so, even if it means harming herself in the process. But when she starts to find a thing or two that she actually likes about herself, she discovers that changing her own attitude is the first step in helping to change others. So again, Genesis Begins Again by Alicia D. Williams. The next book is called King and the Dragonflies by Kaysen Callender. It's about a young person who loses their sibling, but believes that their sibling is still around them in the form of a dragonfly. So this story is about keeping that secret, as well as the fact that the main character believes that they might be gay. So within the book, the main character, King, watches grief transform his family. He comes to understand the beauty and redemption of learning to fly past the secrets that keep him from rising to his truest self. And so this story is by the author of Hurricane Child. All right, so that's another. And next, I just have two more really great books that could be really great read-alouds for families. The first is called The Undefeated. It's by Kwame Alexander and illustrated by Kadir Nelson. So I'm just going to read the inside. This is a great, what Kwame says is a love letter to America. So it says, this is for the unforgettable, the unafraid, and the undefeated. This is a love letter to America, to Black America, to the grit, passion, and perseverance of our greatest artists, athletes, and activists, to the dreamers, to the strength and bravery of everyday people caught in the web of history, with references to lyrics and lines originally shared by our most celebrated heroes. This poem digs into the not-so-distant past to underline the endurance and the spirit of those surviving and thriving in the present. So a really great option for a family read-aloud. Again, that's The Undefeated by Kwame Alexander. And so our last option is called Out of Wonder, Poems Celebrating Poets, by Kwame Alexander, just like the last book. And this is a wonderful book that has, just as it says, a bunch of poems that are celebrating different popular poets. So there's one in here celebrating Billy Collins and Maya Angelou and Nikki Giovanni, and lots of other great poets. So this could be another great option to read out loud as a family, and has really great illustrations as well. All right, so those were our options for today that I wanted to highlight. We do have tons and tons of other options in our collections for kids, for middle grade, for YA, for adults. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we are here working in the library. We walk around with our masks on, and we pull books and fill holds. So even though you can't physically come into our building right now, you still can get books, and really great books that are still on our shelves. So there are a couple ways to do that. So you can go on and place holds. If you want any of the titles I talked about today and you know the title, you can go into our system. Make sure it just says that our copy is still here, the Attleboro Public Library copy. Place a hold on it and we'll be notified. We'll pull that book for you and we'll give you a call to set up a time for curbside pickup. Or you can call us and say, hey, I heard about these books, I want to put them on hold, and we can do that for you. You can also email and do that as well, to have us place those holds for you. All right, so we hope that you are staying home, staying safe, and that you'll contact us for curbside pickup to get all of your reading needs. All right, thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.